Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to have the opportunity to share with you, to connect with you live here on LinkedIn, here on YouTube, and anywhere else you decide that you want to share this opportunity. I always love having the conversations with you. And I'm really excited, frankly, to see who is showing up today and to have a chance to understand the most important question of all: why are you here? You know, I think everybody who's joining the event today is here because you are extremely aware of the fact that you have a brand. And often that brand has two sides, right? There's your individual brand, who you are as an individual contributor, as an expert, as a coach, as a speaker, as somebody else who is looking to get their brand out there. And at the same time, you have a company that you are looking to report, who you're who's you want to get the message out about. You want to have the organization's brand known. And sometimes they're the same because you are the brand. If you are an entrepreneur, if you're a coach, if you're a speaker, if you're an expert, or maybe it's just when you're internal and representing your company to other organizations. So today I have a guest that I want to bring in and introduce you to, who is an expert in doing just that, taking your brand and helping you to figure out a way to get it out there, help the world know who you are. And that is Kimberly Day. Let me welcome to the show, to the podcast, to the stage, to the screen. Kimberly, how are you today?
I am fabulous, Laura. How are you? It's so great to be here and be with you,
It's
sharing
good.
the stage with your audience.
Yes, yes, we're so glad to have you. And I want you to give your introduction to everybody in just a minute. I think the reason that Kimberly and I are doing this for all of you today, and by the way, who are all of you? For those who are joining in the chat, in the comments, please do share. Where are you geographically, and why are you here? What are you looking to develop? How are you looking to get known as a thought leader? What questions do you have? I realize I just asked like 8-part multiple choice questions. You can tell in my former life I taught high school, so it's like, sure, it's an essay test, but there's only 3 questions. Each one has 8 parts to it, but sure, there's only 3 questions. But either way, one thing that I've learned in growing my brand and growing my company, Vocal Impact Productions, is that two things are really important: getting on more stages, on more screens, so virtual stage or otherwise, large and small, and frankly, having a book. And those are two sides of a coin. That's why I've invited Kimberly here, because Kimberly, you are the expert on getting that book written, getting it out, and then we'll chat about how to use that to leverage some stages. And you and I we'll share some wisdom with everybody else on what we've learned along the way and how to help them do it. So, Kimberly, give us a little bit of an explanation about who you help and to do what.
So I typically, and thank you for that lovely introduction. I typically help other coaches, consultants, speakers, entrepreneurs, service-based professionals. So what if you are in business for yourself, and one of the things you struggle with is attracting and finding new clients? Right. Most of the people that I work with, Laura, I'm not sure you weigh in on it if you will, but one of the hardest things to do is to assemble an audience of your ideal perfect client that you want to work with. It is the number one struggle that I hear from all of the entrepreneurs that I work with. And so writing the book and speaking on more stages, which is what you help people to do, is absolutely a fabulous way to accelerate your results and really position yourself as that expert or thought leader in your space and get the visibility that you need to make a bigger impact, influence, and income, not only in your life, but in the life of the clients that you work with and that you transform.
Absolutely. And what I've realized for me over the years is that a book has really two different functions. I mean, it can be an income stream, but for the most part, unless you have it published by Random House or some major publishing house, it's not about the income. So you're not going to put your kids through college through that. So it's a nice idea, but unless you're J.K. Rowling or Simon Sinek or something like that, let's put that to the side. The real purpose, for me at least, is number one, a book is the modern day version of a business card. Nobody gives business cards, but you know what? If you can drop the digital version of a book into a chat on a Zoom, into an email, into something else, it really shows that you have more than just a few thoughts in your head. It's organized. People can learn an awful lot more about the scope of your knowledge through whatever is even in that table of contents. That much helps. And frankly, if you're not just looking to be on smaller stages and screens, but if you're looking to be on the big stages, whether it's television or a national conference or something like that, I found out very explicitly, it's not just a revelation of sorts, but that many of those bigger conferences won't even entertain your application to be a speaker unless you have a book. Because when you're done on your stage, they want to be able to then send all of your attendees to the expo floor where they've got all the vendors and the booksellers, and they want you to go and buy more stuff. They want the attendees to buy your book, which makes them happier as well because they get their cuts. So if you don't have a book, they won't even read your application beyond that first checkbox of no. So Kimberly, how do we do it? Give me a couple of 3 major hacks. This is what we're looking for today. 3 big hacks on how to get that book done and expand that brand. How do we do it without beating our head against the wall? Because I didn't have you, so it took me several years to finally get around to dribbling out and finishing my book, Speaking to Influence, a few years ago. But tell me how my life could have been made so much easier if I'd had you.
Yeah, well, I mean, realistically, there's more than just 3 hacks. But what I loved to do, and what I work with my clients to do, is not just about writing the book or getting the speaking engagements, but thinking about it from that marketing perspective and how you can tie in your book and your expertise to things that other people are already talking about. So, I remember when I was a financial advisor, part of getting on platforms was, obviously, it was very helpful to be the author of the Financial Fitness Playbook, The Ultimate Guide to Winning the Money Game. That was really, really great. But what I also would do was think about how I could position myself not only as an expert because of my book, but as an expert who's creatively tagging along on the coattails, if you will, of what everybody's talking about at the time. So, for example, I would use things like the seasons, right? Spring, summer, fall, winter. And I would do, for example, a spring cleaning for your finances, right? And that exact same material that I would write in the spring for the spring cleaning for your finances, I would repurpose it with a different title in the fall, and I would call it Fall in Love with Your Finances.
That's cute.
Right? So think about, again, if you're watching or listening, to this, what is your industry? Could it be spring cleaning for your inbox, your email inbox? Could it be the spring cleaning for your health, spring cleaning for your social media, the spring cleaning for your home office, right? So depending on what your industry is, and then you just flip that to the fall in love with your inbox, fall in love with your marketing, fall in love with your health, fall in love with your relationship, right? So how can you tie that in? And you write one thing and repurpose it for your content later, in 6 months later, and it's the exact same content. And it can also be the content that goes into your book too.
Right.
Right.
And I think that's such an important piece, that to be able to repurpose material, you don't have to come up with something utterly novel for every post, for every piece that you write. You want to have lots of new stuff. And of course, if you can take your blog posts and incorporate them in your book, or take your book and incorporate them, break it up into blog posts later, you simply don't have time, because I'm guessing you have a job to do. You have clients to serve. You have stuff to take care of. So to take the time to come up with something utterly novel all the time, when frankly, there's lots of people out there who haven't heard or otherwise memorized or learned how to execute on a completely new, what's the right word, a second nature kind of a level, that you need to take those pieces that you have and share them more than once, because it may be new for many, many, many other people.
And like, especially on social media, if you're using LinkedIn like we're on here right now,
Right.
or if you're using Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, whatever your preferred platform is. And actually it's not even technically about your preferred platform.
Right.
It's about what platform is your perfect client hanging out on.
Right.
Like, that's where you want to be putting out your messaging. And how could you take, for me, it was like financial services, like you start talking about mutual funds and RRSPs and everything else. Sorry, that was Canada. Yeah, my Canadian just came out, right? But for the 401ks in the United States, like when you start talking taxes and savings and budgeting, people's like eyes like glaze over and roll back in their head. So for me, I was always looking for creative ways to make it more fun, right? And all of those parts for repurposing, like you suggested, Laura, can be an article, can be a blog post, and can be a sorry, my freaking stuff is ringing. Sorry,
This is the beauty of being on live, because there's no editing, there's no, tech support and whatever else. This is reality. You have to expect a cat tail to walk across the screen every time that you're talking to somebody, right? That I did actually run about 30 seconds before we were going to start and go, my kid's coming home at 1:00 after lunch. I better go, lock the door and make sure, because he's obsessed with my microphone, and any opportunity to just sit here and sing whatever comes to his little brain. He's like, I don't care what meeting you're in. I don't care who you're talking to. That's my microphone, mommy.
Right. Love it.
So anyway, we got our ringtone going. You were saying.
So I got my ringtone back. But yeah, so the whole idea of repurposing your content, your chapters of your book can be the modules of a course or a program that you have,
and
or
vice
a
versa
step-by-step system, or vice versa. In fact, I just did an interview with somebody, and we talked about that concept, the which came first, the chicken or the egg. This one was which came first, the book or the course.
So, and really, who cares? Because if you've already created the course, you've created webinars and whatnot, figure out a way to stack them together, find your segues, find your transitions and the overlap between them, or the connections, and convert that to your book. It doesn't have to be a War and Peace kind of tome, right?
It doesn't. And these could also be then topics that you speak about on a live stream, like Laura and I are doing here, or if you're giving a presentation. So if speaking is one of your superpowers, or you want it to be one of your superpowers, these topics will all translate to, a radio interview, a TV interview. They're like, how do you come up with your 3 hacks, or your 3 tips, or your 5 steps, whatever it is, and how do you make it fun, right? So, which leads me to my hack number 2.
Great. Okay. Number 1 is repurposing. Let's get that clear for everybody else. Number 1, figure out a way to repurpose. Just change the angle, change the label, change a little. It is not cheating. Anybody who's out there, you got the head trash in the back going, am I cheating? No, it's not. I mean, look at any book by some of the other major thought leaders who are out there, whether it's Marshall Goldsmith, Simon Sinek, whoever else it is, Brene Brown. Tell me they don't reiterate the same primary constructs, just in different ways. That's normal, because you don't memorize everything the first time you hear it. You need to hear it over and over. So repurpose it effectively. Number 2.
And just to really even dial it in a little bit more is think about, so that first one too was not only repurposing, because you can use that for all 3 of these things that I'm talking about today too, but tying into what other people are talking about. So the seasons was number 1 too, right? So when everyone's talking about spring cleaning, how could you chime in on that conversation? Because the algorithm is pushing all of that stuff up, especially if you're on social media.
Yes.
And it's top of mind for people. So if you want to be top of mind too, tie into seasons. Number 2 is, how can you use, again, with the repurposing in mind, how can you tie your material into holidays? So the big ones would be like New Year's, right? And back to school, a huge one. When retailers are spending thousands, if not millions of dollars advertising, and you can tie your material in to ride the wave, right? There's an expression called a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yes.
So if you can tie in to things that people are already talking about, think Valentine's Day, think birthdays, yours and or famous people in your industry. How could you tie that in? How could you tie into Halloween, Thanksgiving, the big ones there, like Black Friday and Cyber Monday, everybody does those too. But how could you make your material a little bit more fun and engaging around the holidays? A couple that I used to do, for example, like in February, I'd be talking about love and money, 10 date nights for under $10, till debt do us part. And in fact, I would tie that into Valentine's Day, but also to one of my mentors in Canada, Gail Vaz Oxley. She had a book called Till Debt Do Us Part to help couples that fought about money. At Halloween, I would always put a post out called Spooky Spending, because Halloween is actually only second to Christmas where people spend the most money.
Really?
Candy, costumes, decorations. It's crazy how much people spend money at Halloween.
Wow, I would never would have guessed. Okay, I'm so not oriented that way.
But of course, this was my topic of expertise at the time.
Yes, of course, which is why it's interesting.
But I would get called to speak about that on my local radio and TV station, because why? It was not some boring thing about mutual funds. It was like, spooky spending. That sounds fun. Let's bring her on. She's a finance expert, and she's going to teach us how to save a bit of money around Halloween. At Christmas, I used to do my 12 saves of Christmas. So I would create 12 posts and a savings idea for each one. I always remember the one that used to get the most feedback, and because it always sticks out of my mind, is I would do deck the halls with boughs of holly, like literally. I would go outside with a pair of pruning shears or a scissors or a knife and snip some cedar, snip some pine, go collect pine cones. In Vancouver, where I was living, we have holly bushes, literally bright green with the red berries. I would go snip holly and put it on my mantle and decorate on a budget. Not only did I decorate on a budget, but I saved the environment. I didn't buy all the stuff with the packaging. My house smelled amazing. It looked beautiful. And, it was just an all-in-one amazing idea, and people would love those ideas.
And you can transfer, okay, you've got 12 days for Christmas. You can do 8 days for Hanukkah. You can do, whatever else it is, do a whole month for Ramadan.
Absolutely. So whatever it is, you can tie it into your preferred holiday. So it didn't matter. I celebrate Christmas, and if you celebrate Hanukkah, that's totally cool with me too. But isn't it 12 for Hanukkah too?
So I believe it's 8 on the menorah. I'm not Jewish, but I think it's right. I don't even go down this path, but nevertheless, you can adjust it for however many days there are in the particular holiday of not just your own holiday, but your audience, right? You want to, in that way that you can, why not do it for all of those major traditions? Because again, you can further repurpose and hit the values and what's top of mind for different aspects, different subgroups within your target demographic.
And again, while the rest of the world is talking about it, and while the big box retailers and everyone else is spending so much money talking about it, you get to tie it in and be along on that wave, right? Be one of the boats on the rising tide of whatever.
And it's not just about holidays, of course. It's whatever's happening in the news, whatever's big in social media, whatever the newest trends, movies that come out. You play with all of it.
You can play with all of it. And it's really, you just have to be a little bit, the only thing I think that holds people back is a little bit of creativity. But you know what? Creativity is a muscle you can flex. So I encourage you to just watch what other people are doing, right? Do a little bit of research, find out what people are talking about in your industry.
Right.
So we've got repurposing based on seasons. We've got repurposing based on holidays. And number 3, and probably the one that I love the most, is repurposing for your industry month.
Interesting.
So whatever your industry month is, how can you tie into that? So as a financial advisor, November is financial literacy month.
Interesting.
So with purpose and with intentionality, when I published my book, The Financial Fitness Playbook, I did it so I timed it to be published at the same time as Financial Literacy Month. Why? Because all of the big banks in Canada, for example, RBC, BMO, TD, CIBC, Scotiabank, were all advertising and spending millions of dollars promoting Financial Literacy Month. All the insurance companies were doing the same. All of the advisors, independent advisors, bankers, mortgage brokers, accountants, everyone is talking financial literacy. And I tied in the launch of my book into Financial Literacy Month because financial literacy was important to me. So with total honesty and integrity, I was putting something out into the world that was going to help more people and help myself at the same time. And I rode right along on the coattails of Financial Literacy Month. And it worked so transformationally that I actually had CTV News, one of our big national syndicates, at my book launch, because they caught wind of me doing this and
Nice.
tying in to that industry month. So when is your industry month, right? How can you tie into all of that, whether it's health, relationship, use your industry. And it's not always a month. Like for us, for financial literacy, it's a month, but sometimes it's a week. Sometimes it's just a day. Right. Like, so what is it that how are you being honored for your profession, your industry, your job title, and how can you tie in marketing, whether it's a book or not, into that, right? How do you tie your speaking opportunities into that, right? And if you can do that, magic starts to happen, right? You get the opportunity to get on speaking platforms. You get the opportunity to talk to radio and TV. You get free media and publicity, not the kind you have to pay for, because you're staying top of mind.
And one thing to make that work, I realize it's something that I have had to get better at, and frankly, hire people who are better at it than I am, is looking ahead. Because I'm the queen of, okay, let me look at the day. What's tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow's National Ice Cream Day, or whatever it happens to be. Okay, what can I write now? But at that point, it's kind of too late. So if you're looking you can do certain things for that day, for that week, for that month, for that season. But you really want to be looking several weeks, several months ahead of time to plan, because if you want to be on a stage during that time, you got to start promoting a lot earlier than that. You need to start writing ahead. Do you want to collaborate with somebody else? Do you want a guest speaker, a co-author? Do you want to co-brand with somebody at that time, or even get it on your weekly newsletter for that day? Well, how far in advance do you write those newsletters? What guests are you going to have on your podcast or something else? So do look ahead. And there's super easy resources out there. There's one I forget what it's called. It was the like nationaltoday.com is a
nationaldaycalendar.com. And
there you go.
It is like so good.
And I was serious when I said National Ice Cream Day. There is one. Every industry out there has its day.
Yesterday was National Fajita Day, FYI, in case anybody's really, really had a burning desire to know that.
Yeah, a sizzling desire at that point. So, look ahead, figure out, because sometimes you are trying to figure out, like, what can I talk about today? I'm kind of dry on something creative and interesting. Is my brand at all related to ice cream? No, but you know what? From a metaphorical perspective, how can I tie it in? And it adds a little bit of fun energy to the topic, to your title, to whatever else it happens to be. And then you play with it from there, but you always interweave the real core value of whatever it is that you want to teach, that you want to share in that moment. But sometimes it's just a little creative spark to get the wheels turning, so to speak.
I love that, Laura. Like, seriously, that is like, that's a gem, right? That's like the golden nuggets are just like dropping like bombs over here. The drop the mic moments, but it's so true. You need to be able to be thinking about this in advance if you want the medium publicity. Yeah, you can wing it for a few things, but quite literally, if you want to get those stages and if you want to get in front of medium publicity, like Laura's got it bang on, you need to have a bit of a pre-planning phase. But National Day Calendar is a great way to start. You can actually go to year at a glance. And then I drop down to the month and I see what might be timely for my own business as a month-to-month basis. If there's nothing in the month, I drop down to the week and see if there's any weeks that make sense. And then I'll drop down to the day. And so I block them into my calendar to know that when I'm planning my content for September, for example, there's a day called International Podcast Day. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I was just glancing at my September calendar. So it stuck in as an example. But I have podcast coaches and collaborators and producers I have podcast coaches and producers that I collaborate with. So of course, I'm going to create an International Podcast Day post of some sort, because I'm going to promote and encourage people to go and check out the other superstars that I deal with. And podcasting is just one more method of speaking, right? Where, and I believe in speaking. I believe in getting on platforms to be able to get visibility and get the message out to more people. So I'm already designing what's going to happen a month or two in advance based on things like National Day Calendar. Another great one, Laura, I don't know if you use, I know you've got people that make your graphics a little bit more effectively than I do, but
I'm
I'm
not
like,
a graphic designer. No, I definitely pay people to do that one. I have no
I have
qualms about admitting
Canva.
that.
I use Canva though, like a crazy person.
Well, I hire people who use Canva. So that's
So if your Canva people don't know about it, there's a spot in Canva called Content Planner, and it literally names a bunch of these days already in the planner.
oh,
And then
interesting. Okay.
when you click on it, it opens up like 5 templates that are already templated for whatever that day is,
Interesting.
which is awesome. So that's where I actually found International Podcast Day. It was right in my Canva content planner. And then it pops up a whole bunch of templates of like let that say International Podcast Day on it.
Right,
So I'm
right,
really
right.
going to have to do anything.
Yeah, I don't have to dig. It's right there.
You don't have to dig, and there's tools that are there. But back to industry month. This is key, because if you're thinking about tying in, so I happen to be a former financial advisor, and so now is the time. If you are a financial advisor, an accountant, a bookkeeper, an insurance or advisor, if you are a will and estate lawyer, a realtor, anybody who touches someone's money, and you really want to amplify your results come November, I'm telling you, writing a book is one of the most phenomenal ways you can do it. And I'm here to tell you, it's way easier than it sounds. And I have a proven path to help people run on that can get it out of your head and into your hot little hands and into the hands of the people that you want to transform their lives and improve their financial literacy.
Yeah.
You can literally have that done in time to launch in tandem with Financial Literacy Month. So
Nice.
Something to think about, right? If you're watching and listening, and if you've ever had a book on your heart, because I knew that I had wanted to do it. And it's one of the best things I could have ever done for my business. It completely transformed my life. And I'm super passionate about helping other people get similar results, right? Just by doing things like what we talked about today, marketing hacks that help you get more visibility, get on more stages, speak more powerfully and confidently, because you're tying into things that people are already talking about.
Absolutely.
So you don't feel lost about what to say, right?
Yes, and that looks like I'm looking in the chat. I see Tom DiBenedetto has already checked out National Calendar Day and loves it. And anybody else out there, by the way, who has resources to share, please do put them in the chat. Anybody who has a major aha moment from today that they realize, I'm going to go do this right away, whether it's that link they're going to go use or something else, a little light bulb moment that Kimberly shared with you, feel free to share that with us. It helps to reinforce those concepts, the reminders in everybody else's head too. And in the last couple of minutes that we have, Kimberly, how can people learn more? How can they learn more about you and about how you can help them, whether it's with the book or other marketing, otherwise, to make sure that they build their brand, build their business, and get the results?
Well, that is a great question. And I do have some free training coming up next week.
Amazing.
So,
Good.
I've actually created a special link for anyone who is watching here on Dr. Laura's platform. So it's actually a VIP, right, for
Yay.
Vocal Impact Productions. Great, great acronym there. But you can get your VIP ticket by using the link that we're going to drop into the comments below.
Yeah, actually, I'll put it right here. So tell me what it is and I'll type it in.
I've got it right in the private chat there for you.
Oh, good. Okay, super.
So you can just copy and paste it. But you can register for this training for free. It starts next week. It's every day for 1 hour a day. So could it possibly be worth 1 hour of your day next week to come and learn how you could plan and write a client attracting, business boosting, credibility building, thought leadership positioning book for your business? Then I'd love to invite you to that training. I go deep dive. It's interactive. It's fun. I give away copies of my book every day. Sorry, I can't point backwards. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I give away free copies of my book during the training. One person will actually win their tuition for my 3-month signature program, where I literally hand in hand walk you down the path of getting it out of head into hand. So one person who will be on that training will win a spot in my course and program that starts the last week of August, just in time to launch during Financial Literacy Month. So
love it. See,
But
timing.
the 5-day free training is phenomenal. You'll get so much value out of it. And I would love to have you there as Laura's guest.
Okay, so here's what we need you to do, Kimberly. If you can pull up, because I put it into the chat, but for whatever reason, it's only letting me post it. It looks like through my YouTube share as opposed to through my LinkedIn. And I want to make sure everybody who's tuning in on LinkedIn gets it as well. Can you share your screen? If you can pull up that page, it's publish, promote, profit .eventbrite.com, and then you've got your slash and some tag at the end. I can share my screen otherwise if you can't, but I just want to make sure that everybody sees it and can do a screenshot or otherwise.
How do I do that? And I know how you can do it. Can you put it in the, I'm going to drop it right here. It should land right on I can't add a comment. How come I can't comment?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how StreamYard gets a little funky with this here and there, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to post it.
I'm going to go to your LinkedIn right now. Are we streaming live on LinkedIn?
We are streaming live on LinkedIn. So here, I'm going to give you this website and I'm going to share my screen. Where is it? Here. Okay. We're going to LinkedIn hack. We're going to, I'm not the tech person. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if I can do this at least. We're going to see if this works one way or another. If not, I'm going to go right on tab. This one here, share. Let's see. Can everybody see this? Kimberly, do you see your page on my screen? Hopefully we see. If anybody in StreamYard, if anybody who's on LinkedIn can tell me if you are seeing this particular, you can see Kimberly's registration page on Eventbrite. Go ahead, take a screenshot.
Oh, if you can share, if you can see, I think I just dropped it right into the comments below our video.
Oh, good. I think we're sharing my screen right now. That's great.
This is exactly what it looks like, for sure. So if you land on what looks like this, you're in the right place. All you need to do is click the button, register, and you'll get all the details on how to join me live on Zoom next week, Monday to Friday, to learn how to use this fantastic strategy to grow your business and launch during Financial Literacy Week. Now, of course, this content is good for anybody else too, right? Like I've used it. I've helped healers and energy workers, and I've helped
people who are on the other end of the spectrum, from financial planners and things.
I've helped from everybody and in between, but this one is designed specifically for the financial services sector to be able to launch in time with Financial Literacy Month. But you know what is right around the corner from November, from Financial Literacy Month? It's Christmas. So if you want to become a published author and have a book in time to launch for the holidays, this would be a great opportunity for you too. But
yes.
There'll be a crew of people there that you can use as a networking opportunity as well. So if you want to meet other people that you could collaborate with and join on the journey, who are moving down the same path as you, right? I find everything's more fun together. So I love to collaborate and connect with the people who are joining in. And thank you so much, Laura. You are just so phenomenal at what you do. Clearly you have speaking like down to a fine science. I know you do so much great work in the world, and I absolutely love what you're doing and helping people get their influence, up-level their impact and influence through the use of speaking and communicating more effectively. It's such a superpower, and you're doing amazing work in the world. So I just want to thank you so much for sharing this other information with your community. I'm blessed to be here.
Well, Kimberly, I can't imagine anybody who can do it better than you can, as far as, in particular, I should say, with regard to helping leverage the overall brand and merging that with the book, where there's so many thought leaders out there who I'm recognizing. I recognize a number of names who are in the process of writing their first book, some people who have written more than one and are looking to do more, get the brand out there, get on those stages. This is a stage. This is a stage. It's not wooden platform, but this is the stage. This is 99% of the stages that you will be on for the rest of your life will be here. So don't worry about how big or small it is, about whether people show up in the moment or later. You need to get your name out there, get your voice out there, get your message out there, get your expertise and your content out there. Please connect with Kimberly Day. You can see your name there. Reach out to her on LinkedIn. Follow her on what other social media are you on, Kimberly?
I'm on every single social media platform with the URL, The Real Kim Day. You can find me on every platform there. Please come and connect. I love to connect and create and collaborate with other amazing entrepreneurs and professionals. So
awesome. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Dr. Laura Sicola. Of course, connect with me if you haven't done that already on LinkedIn. And we look forward to seeing you next time. And share this link, by the way, the replay, with all of your friends, all of your connections, all of your colleagues who you know would benefit from the wisdom that Kimberly shared with us today. Spread the word, make somebody else's day, make somebody else's year, and we will see you again next time. Bye.
bye.